Hi folks, my name's Mance. I'm from Wilderness Pioneers and I'd like to welcome you today to another one of our videos on primitive skills here at our primitive base camp. Today in our series of primitive skills, the first thing that we will be covering is how to make a digging stick just using flint and fire to produce an implement that we can dig up roots and get cordage for future projects. Digging sticks really important, particularly when we want to find natural cordage such as roots from cedar and pine. Rather than using our hands or if we have a knife, using a knife, which just ends up blunting it, we want to make a tool which can put up with the abuse that we're going to give it to go into the ground and expose those roots. So today I found this conveniently forested section of hornbeam. Hornbeam's a lovely hardwood, and as you can see, it's way too long. Personally, I like a digging stick about 2 foot, 2.5 foot in length, and it's about the right sort of diameter, nice and strong. As we know, hornbeam is a hardwood, so it's got that inherent strength within it, but I need it cut off around here. Rather than spending a lot of energy with a stone tool, I'm going to use the fire and get it to burn through. There are two advantages. Firstly, it'll burn it to the length I want. Secondly, it will also harden it, and the charred bits that come out will just use flint to shape it into the chisel shape that we want. As we can see, it's beginning to burn through there. The reason why I've put this over these logs is try to protect the main stem of my digging stick. So I am trying to focus as much of the heat in this area that I want burnt through. And these two, which aren't burning at the moment, are protecting my main, the shaft of the digging stick. But there's still a lot of heat coming in, so any moisture etc. is being driven out, and also the advantage with that heat, it's beginning to harden it as well. Okay, so it's been about 5 minutes or so. There we go, we can see it's burnt through. Now what I need to do is just cool it down, and the way I tend to do it is just stick it into the ground near the fire. The residual heat of the fire will continue to harden the wood as well, and it will cool, suffocate any embers which are left on the digging stick, and then I'll give it a couple of minutes, pull it out, then I'll get the flint onto it and I'll chisel the front and get it ready into our digging stick. So that's been a couple of minutes. Let's pull this out. Yep, you can see still quite hot, so I'll need to let that cool down a bit. Okay, this has now cooled down to a level where I can manage it, and what we're going to do is take this point off and make it a lot more acute, very much of like a chisel shape, and that will just make it inherently stronger. But I've got to get rid of all this charred material, and what I'm going to use is just a hefty chunk of flint. The angle right. That's most of the charred material off, and what I'm going to try using a different piece of flint, slightly sharper edge, and I just try to chisel it down. Okay, I'm happy with that. We've got a slight chisel end, still a bit of a point on there, that'll break off, but we can resharpen it. But that is very, very hard. I can barely get a nail into that. A good digging stick for getting the roots out that we need for our cordage for our ongoing project. Nice and easy, as you can see. It didn't take too much effort whatsoever. To recap, it's finding a decent piece of wood that is roughly about 1 meter or so, maybe a little bit long for me, but it'll still work. I can grip it quite comfortably, hands around both of it. Important feature about it is smooth, so I'm not going to get too many blisters. If I was really being anal about it, I could grind these little knots down, but it will do the job. So we burnt through it to roughly the desired length, stuck it into the ground to cool it, then using our flint we just scraped off all the charred material, got down to the hardened wood, and then using a different flake we've just chiseled the end to make it that little bit stronger to put up with the stresses and strains as we dig into the ground to expose the roots. A simple digging stick, doesn't take too much effort. We didn't need to use modern tools, a bit of flint and fire, and we've ended up with a very useful tool. An additional use for this tool, as I said, is a little bit large for me, is it can also be used as a hunting tool, such as a rabbit stick. So I'm sure prehistoric man used to carry one of these around. Multifunction tool, hunting tool, as well as digging to get food, cordage, etc., whatever he needed. Nice and easy, nothing too difficult about it. I hope you enjoyed this primitive series, and stay tuned, there will be many more coming as we continue on with our projects, and we will be using this in our next video where we will be digging up roots for cordage going on to another project that we'll be making.